Okay, team all in. Sorry, we forgot to record. We're talking about our May 4, 5, 6 Thursday night director gathering, a team hike on the Friday at Island Lake, since he's staying at the Best Western. Some of us are going to be booking a room for the Friday, maybe Thursday, Friday, and then all day Saturday a training. And we're just talking about getting some ideas together on what we're going to do in the training. And the lunch on the Saturday is going to be around $42 a person. That includes the whole day training and the lunch. And Wen said that she loved the way we did our testimonials as leaders, and I think they were powerful. I think because it wasn't just like I don't know, when you're in person, and you're right, they made you pick a word and you did your story around that one word, which was pretty powerful. And I think when some of the newer people hear our stories, and it wasn't just business, it was like how the product had impacted our lives, and how the business had transformed our life. So I think it was just a really good lead in. So I think we could do something like that again, especially with having a lot of new promoters coming on board and some new people attending the event. So that's a good thing. And Shelley, you had some thoughts around that?
Yeah, well, I think because this is the first year where they've made the shift with how you make the income, like the 10% and 20%, I think that would be worthwhile going over again.
Okay.
Because that's I mean, each time it's a little bit new, or each time you hear it, it sinks in a little bit more, at least it does for me. And one thing, and without getting too detailed, but I know personally for myself, and maybe some of you, it might be helpful too, going into the back office, like maybe looking at maybe the top 3 things that we really as business people need to be aware of. Like, is it, the 3 for free where people have stopped their Neo ship, so that we say, oh my gosh, there's a list here and we should be following up? Is it when we look into, the account reports, which one tell us what we should be working towards on our next goal? Like, I just think, like, and there's several of them there, and without getting too complicated, maybe the top 3 as a beginning for what we should be aware of and know what those numbers mean.
I think it's a great idea. And you know what, when you were saying that, Shelley, I'm more like of a hands-on person. So if we start the event with, like, if we have a screen and it's projecting, we have to find, they don't have like a screen, but I'm sure we can probably get a projector and do something like that. Or every table have one laptop and work in groups and have people clicking and opening and talking amongst each others, because I think the hands-on, if I see something, I don't get it until I actually go and click and do it and find it and look for it myself.
So I think it would be imperative to suggest that people bring their laptop or whatever they use when they're going, so that not just a teachable thing where they're clicking over here, clicking over there. If that doesn't work for me, I'm hands-on too. So, but a session, because then it's your numbers, because your numbers and what you see as a manager will be different than somebody who's a director. And so you'll be able to ask the questions that are relevant to you.
Yeah. Excellent. That'll be excellent.
I have to make sure they have Wi-Fi too, then, if we're all bringing our computers.
Yeah. The cafe does have Wi-Fi, because I used to work up in the cafe all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a nice little area there.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Okay, and I'll confirm that they have enough Wi-Fi that, maybe 7 or 8 laptops or whatever, 15 laptops can log in at the same time. So I'll definitely talk to them about that. Mm-hmm. All right. Anybody else?
What came to mind for me is we have new people and creating belief, like our belief in Neolife. Why Neolife? and summarize it for them. Why the business and why the products, right? And explain why. That I love, I love that part of it, the fact that we're 1958. I know we say that, but 1958. So it's longevity, it's family owned. Why family owned versus another business? Those type of things. And of course, the products, we say that about the products all the time. But having a list of it reminds us, it reminds the new person that that's why. And they can answer questions too when somebody asks them about it. So belief.
And I think Whit would probably be the good person, but if we give him that question, he'll be able to create something. And I'm sure Ashley probably already has slides already created around that. So I'll have a conversation with them about that.
Like having a cheat sheet, we can
Right.
get some information all over, right? You'll get the bits and pieces, but having a cheat sheet for them, a new person with all that information together.
Okay.
Mhm.
Excellent.
And so this is like a 10 till 4 thing? 9 till 4?
I think 10 till 4. Yeah, or even 10 till 5, but
9:30.
we'll see what. Yeah, even 9:30. We can say registration 9:30 and start right at 10.
Yeah, so you have 2 hours, an hour for lunch, and then another 3 hours or 4, whatever. Yeah.
And we'll have new testimonials, right? The new ones.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There are a lot of new testimonials, which is great.
Yeah, and we'll work with some of the newer people, get them up there for sure.
Even the one where they were talking about, yes, I had suggested, when somebody orders a breakfast pack, what they save and what you would earn. But when he goes into, think of those 12 people, like the ABC thing that they go through, and so that we actually take the time to write it down. I think the biggest thing that just from a teaching point of view, rather than just saying, hey, we want to do this and this, and you want, what you want 3 people in your circle, and then you want, help this person get 12, or you call 12, to actually take the time to do it. Because if you say, well, now that go home and do it, it's not happening, or it rarely happens. So actually having like the work sessions involved with what they're talking about, so that we can ask questions of each other. Okay, I get stuck at 3 people. Like, what do you guys do to get that 4th person? Or where do you join? Like some of that conversation that's going to happen.
So would you have that in a category of handling objections, or handling no's, or the process of, like, what would you put that in a category as?
Well, and I think this is a good question for the new people on here starting their business. Like, where do they find is what works well for them, and then where are they kind of stuck? Because people might be able to write down 20 names, and then it's like, well, now what do you do with them? Like, how do you invite them? How do you get them to that next step? So I think that feedback from, let's say, Tracy and Jennifer and Sean might be really helpful to us to know where people want to zero in on. And
I have 0 to offer because I can't get anyone on board. I'm having the roughest time with that. I can get people to order. I've had people say they're interested in the business. They're kind of stuck in their job. They're looking for something different. I don't give them too much. I give them a little info, just say, join us, just listen, learn about the company, and nothing.
But Tracy, when you say nothing, you've had a great success, people coming on board with the product.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and you've planted a lot of seeds about the business. So we all have the same issues when it comes to promoters. So don't think that it's just you. Okay. You're doing it. It's a numbers game.
Okay.
It's
And
totally
maybe that's part of this discussion is the whole mindset and the numbers of, here are the steps that you want to go through. If you get stuck at this point, here's a suggestion. If you get stuck, you have 9 no's and you're going, what am I doing? Well, here's the thing, 9 no's, they say 1 out of 10. So 9 no's gets you closer to that 10th one that's going to say yes, but those kind of things that you have to be reminded of. So I think a little bit of those steps.
And I remember a long time ago, they were saying that sometimes it takes 100 promoters for you to get that director.
Mhm.
Like it's, it sounds like a lot. I know it sounds, now Tracy, back then we didn't have the member program. It was
Oh.
just, people would just sign up. And if they signed up, they were considered a promoter. So, and I'm not saying that to scare you, but like, I want you to understand that like, not everybody is going to see the business right away, but when you do find them, it just happens. Like it's kind of cool. So you just, it really is your attitude, your mindset, how you handle it. And I think listening to a lot of different positive affirmations, and there's a lot of positive thinking books, because sometimes it's also the energy that you're putting out there. People will be attracted to your energy, even if you don't say anything. When you walk into a room, when you're, when you're around people, they do. If you're exuding that positive energy and you're in that right mindset, people want to be around that. Okay. So just remember that. And you are a dynamic person. Like I, when I met you, I felt that energy, and I know, and I get the same, I feel the same way when I meet people that are struggling. You could tell they're not happy with their job and they're struggling financially, and you just want to say, why can't you see the business? Right? It's like, right?
Right.
It is frustrating, but you know what? Just remember, when you become a director, your story is going to be kind of like more firm, and you're going to go, I'm doing it. I've done it, and I did it with support. I've got help. I didn't do it by myself. You got to come and take a look, right? You're going to be able to talk with a little more conviction and excitement, and so it will come. You all of a sudden you're going to have people go, okay, you're still doing that. you're starting to make some money now. I am, and you know what? It's awesome, and so don't, and you have to remember, you've been like, a lot of things have happened in your life over the last little while too, right? Because it kind of set you back a little bit, right? So so
I'm not giving up.
I know you're not. And this is a great forum for us to, communicate, because Yulee is like an extremely hardworking. I mean, the calls you make, Yulee, the people you connect with, and you're always focusing on the business, right? And eventually you're going to find that person that's going to see what you see, right? So it's just a matter, it's a matter of being persistent, not giving up. Joan?
I'm going to make one point to add to that. That remember, we talked about when you're sort of in that valley, right? You look at activity, skill, and attitude, things that you can work on, right? So you're doing the activity, then maybe you need to brush up on the skill or the attitude. Those are the 3 things that they had taught us to self-evaluate, as opposed to just thinking, well, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. It's sort of like the growth, because it's our personal growth in the business that we're trying to achieve. So that's one thing when you're in the valley, because we do have the peaks and valleys. I love that peak and valley analogy, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I like that. That's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That peaks and valleys, was that a presentation that Ashley did for us? I'm trying to remember who started that, or was that within the group?
We did it, right? Yeah.
Because that might be something worth exploring, doing that again. I like that topic too of starting conversations, because that's something that really stops me, is I don't want to be salesy. How do you start the conversation? I mean, I basically, if I think about it, I know, but I need more in the moment.
Right.
I don't always remember it because it doesn't stand out for me. I haven't done it enough, whatever. I don't know.
The last sorry. last leadership call was amazing. What Ashley just
Yeah.
did, that she was dead on with the stuff.
She was awesome. So if you get a chance to watch that again, I'm not sure, I did tag you in it, Tracy, but you might have been working. Ashley on Monday did an amazing talk on the leadership call. So you can go back. I think
Okay.
Jennifer, you were on that call, right? Yeah, it was.
Okay, yeah, I didn't, I got tagged on, but I was working, so if you
Yeah,
could,
and
is
I
there a
think Sean-
recording?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's always there. You can go back to all the leadership calls under the Business Builders group, and you'll see Ashley's recording from because it's all in that Business Builder group. Definitely one to review and
Okay.
listen to.
Okay.
Yeah, I took some screenshots of her slides as she was talking. I'm like, oh, I like that one. Oh, I like that one. So I took some
Yeah, it was
screenshots.
really, really good.
So would that be under resources?
No, it's on the Facebook group.
Oh, on the Facebook group, okay. I'm still learning this technology thing.
Yeah,
Okay,
So does that give you enough topics for the Saturday?
I think so.
Okay.
I think
Well,
that- I think that-
I'm a bit confused by the Friday. Just in terms of if we have the evening as a Discover More, that I get because we're inviting people to it.
Mhm.
But what are we doing all day? I mean, the hike is one thing, but that's not gonna take all day.
Yeah, I know we have to. I don't know. What are we gonna do? Any other suggestions?
Okay,
Like
so it's not gonna be more training? You'd rather,
With the lead, we're with him, right? So it'll be us. So whoever wants to, like whoever can come on the Friday. Remember, some people are working, right? Not everybody will be able to. It'll be a smaller group on the Friday during the day. So it'll be like a leaders, definitely a lead. Like we're gonna get together with him on the Thursday night, more of a social kind of thing when he arrives. And then do a hike on the Friday, and then we can definitely do an afternoon session with him for sure at the hotel. So let me see what he's thinking. Friday session, afternoon. What?
and Orangeville is Canada, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking, Shelley, maybe we could even do like, remember, Joan, what we did one time? We walked around town and went to the mall and just started talking to people, communicating with people, and starting conversations with people, and invite people to the Discover More on the Friday night. I don't know. Maybe we could do something like that. Do a bit of practicing with people. What do you think? Want to do something like that? An actual. What are you thinking, Joan? Didn't we do that one time?
Yeah.
It was a bit of a disaster, but it gave us not a disaster, but it was challenging because people weren't open, but there was the odd person that was like curious, and it just gave us a bit of a practice talking to strangers.
do you know what? And I've done that before. I did that standing in the middle of a parking lot in Quebec. So I've done that before. So I'm just, if we were to do something like that, I think it would be good to, do the hike in the morning or whatever, have a lunch, and then have a training session of opening conversations like one's kind of talking about for like an hour and a half kind of thing. And then saying, okay, for the next 2 hours, now go out. Like, I think maybe like to do the whole afternoon without any kind of guidance.
I think it's a great idea.
But if you wanted to do that as an activity, then you'd want to practice as to, what you want to be saying and how to respond and
just for
that are
fun and
comfortable doing
practice.
it.
I think it's a great idea. And then we go out and then we can share, how we felt and the kind of feedback and the responses that we got, and who knows?
Maybe
That'd be
go
kind of fun.
out in twos or threes at least, so
Yeah.
rather than the whole group, maybe just.
Yeah. Go out in groups. Go in like group of 2 or 3, and like I was up in the LCBO the other day getting stuff for Cindy's birthday, and this lady, I was looking for her favorite wine. I couldn't find it, and I asked the manager, and I loved her hair. I mean, it was like puffy, and it was like the spiral perms like I used to have when I was in high school. So I said, oh my God. I said, you remind me of when I was in high school, my hair, my mom used to spiral my perm, and she's like, oh my God, this is natural. I'm like, I know, it's so nice. And anyways, and she helped me find the wine. And then I said to her, I said, how long have you been here? And she goes, oh, about 5 years, blah, blah, blah. And, tell me a little bit about what she does. And I said, oh, I said, you're so like helpful. I said, you must love what you do. She goes, I do. I kind of like it. And I said, why are you like, can I ask you why you're doing this? Because you can tell she was like probably around my age. She goes, oh, my boys are big and grown and gone now. And I was a stay-at-home mom. And now I'm just back to, doing a little bit of something to bring some money. And I said, oh, cool. I said, did you grow up in Bolton? She's like, no. I said, oh. And then, and I said, do you like, oh, I gotta ask her. Somehow I found out she goes to our church. I don't know how that came about. Somehow we started talking about church, and she goes, I go to Holy Family. I said, oh, I said, do you know Frances? She goes, Frances. I go, she reads at the 12 o'clock mass. And she goes, oh. And then she said to me, no, but do you know, oh no. I said, where do you work out? She goes, oh, I used to work out at the community center. I said, oh, my dad used to work out all the time. I said, but he has dementia now and he doesn't go anymore. And she goes, what's his name? I go, Joe. Joe? She goes, oh my God. She goes, he talked to everybody. And that was it. She knew my dad. Like, what are the chances of that happening? So anyways, all I'm saying is if I didn't ask the questions, it wouldn't have got there. I would not have found out that she worked out with my dad at the club for like 20 years. So anyways, I got her name and number, gave her a sample of Upbeat, gave her a sample of shakes. She just opened up the links that I sent her this afternoon. And I thought back, how did that conversation start? By complimenting her truly, because I did love her hair. And she was so helpful finding the right wine for Cindy. And I thanked her.
So there were probably, as I was listening to you and what you said, about 13 different beginnings that you used and
Right.
questions. So make a list.
Okay.
Make a list of, oh, I love your hair. And don't just say pay a compliment, because,
Right.
then people say, okay, but about what? Or I'm not
What
sure.
compliment?
Right. Actually give examples like that one. And then, oh, how long have you been here? How long have you worked here? And then the nice thing I always to say, oh, you must really love it.
Mhm.
That's a good one, because then they say yes or no. Like, yeah. So go through what you just said, Nada, and write it down, and maybe
Okay.
a bunch of other ones that we can add to it.
So I think that's where I screw up sometimes. I go, oh, like, you must really love it. I feel like I say, oh, so do you like it or don't you? Like, it doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like, are you happy? I
Yes.
like, so you must really like it. And that's when the truth comes out, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Whether
Yeah,
they're
absolutely,
happy or-
Tracy.
Okay.
Or else when they say, oh, well, I've just been here, and then we shift over, or I know I've done this, I shift over and I go, oh, but are you looking for something else? And
Oh,
I haven't really developed that conversation of what they were saying. All of a sudden, I'm trying to direct them too soon,
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think some of those conversations and role playing and doing some, which maybe isn't the best way, and then seeing how people react. Oh, that seemed a little bit odd,
Yeah.
some
Right.
of that, and then go out and try it.
Okay. Yeah, I like that idea.
Good old role playing that people will go, oh my gosh,
I hate role playing.
I know, but
Oh
it
my
really helps
God.
if you want to do it.
I had to
Yeah.
do it at work one time with a social worker, and she was a disgruntled employee, and I'm in HR, and I was like, I can't actually do this anymore. I was like, I'm traumatized by it.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah.
So those that are comfortable will kind of try it, and those that won't or are uncomfortable will watch it and learn and do what's comfortable for them.
Mhm.
Agree.
I like this.
Mhm.
I like this idea for Friday.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah, and I remember we did that with, excuse me, what's her name? What, Nada, when we went to a Square One? Because
That was with, yes.
we went
Same night.
with the buddy system, right? So, because I
Yeah,
go out with
yeah.
Belinda, and we
Yeah.
just kind of helped each other as we went.
Yeah. And I have to say, okay, I just got a text from somebody I met today at Canadian Tire. Okay. I went to return. I'm dead serious. I went to return water shoes. So this is how, before I forget, I'm going to say the conversation only because, Cindy, I don't want it to slip my mind because I'm going to forget. I was returning my water shoes and there wasn't a lot. You know how when you go to these returns, sometimes there's a lineup behind you? Well, I looked to see if there was anybody behind me. There was one guy. So I returned the shoes. I read her name on the shirt. We talked, asked her how long she'd worked there. Where did she do before? And she was always in retail. She worked at Zellers and before that Kmart.
Oh my God.
Right? So I was laughing. I said, oh my God, Kmart and Zellers were my favorite stores. And she goes, I know, right? They got rid of it. And we just started joking around about Kmart and Walmart, right? Or Kmart and Zellers. Because I did love my Zellers, especially when my kids were little. It was my favorite place to shop, right? So we were joking around and then I did my return. And the guy, I said, I want to talk to you a bit more. And then she looked at my name. She goes, St. Germain. She goes, my best friend, Michelle, is cousins with the St. Germain. And he goes, and I think it's your husband. He's been in here a few times. And that was it. I'm like, oh, great. Okay. So he knows Jill. She knew Jill. But it was kind of cool the way the conversation went. I just kept asking her questions. And then I could and then I asked her, I said, do you like nutrition? Like, are you into health at all? She goes, well, I have a lot of digestive troubles. Like, would you like protein drinks? She goes, no, I don't do protein drinks. I just want to fix my tummy. Right? So we just started talking about digestion. Anyways, long story short, I knew not to give her a sample of protein because it would have been a total waste. And I said, how about energy? I said, is there a challenge in that area? And she goes, oh my gosh. I said, have you heard of nitric oxide? She goes, what's that? Anyways, I just shared a little bit about this amazing product we just launched. I'd love for her to try it and give me some feedback. So get this. Honestly, like, oh, and I let the guy go ahead. I said, you know what? I said, let this guy go and do his return. So I just set aside, right? Even though I knew I had to get home and pack, I thought, no, I'm going to sit aside here and let this guy do his exchange. Nada, thank you for the sample today. I really enjoyed it. I would be interested in purchasing a box of it. What is the price and how many are in it? Regards, Leslie. Right? Just by having a conversation and finding out her needs, right? So you got to practice. Like sometimes it doesn't go anywhere, but sometimes it goes somewhere. And it's how many people you talk to when you're out there and just starting conversations.
Okay, so question. So you give her a sample, but how do you actually get her phone number? Like,
I don't give it.
Like,
I don't give it to her unless she. I said, oh Leslie, I said I'd like to send you some information. Can I get your number? She's like,
okay.
oh yeah. And then I'm right there in the phone, putting her name in. I said, here's I have an Upbeat brochure that I made, like Serena had made with my picture Upbeat and explains it. I stapled one Upbeat to it and I gave it to her.
Okay.
You can print up different things with information on the Upbeat so that when you give it to her, but I always say, I say my name and number is here. Are you okay if I get your number so I could text you? I'd love to send you a video that explains this product so you know what it does.
Okay.
Always get their information before you give them any samples.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So yeah, it really is just a numbers game. You have to really just make an effort, and sometimes it doesn't go anywhere. I'm not saying it goes somewhere all the time, but it's just getting into that habit of trying to connect and communicate and ask questions and talk. And sometimes it goes somewhere and sometimes it doesn't.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome. Okay. So I'll start writing down some of the things that I say to people when I'm meeting them at the entire grocery store. Oh my gosh, everywhere and anywhere. Yoga.
And you might look at the order that we do this because, whether or not we have a quick session in the morning and then say, go on out for an hour and a half, meet back here for lunch and then go for a walk in the afternoon, or whether, see what would make more sense with the flow.
Okay. Maybe
Yeah,
what
I
we'll
think you
do.
could have the walk in the morning. I think, that might kind of too much fresh air and stuff might tire us. I think I agree with you, Shirley. It might be good to do the
We always did the teaching in the morning because that's when people's brains were fresh.
Prospecting them. And then the hike continued like sharing and stuff too, right? You'll just
So the session in the morning, go out and do our little group thing, meet for lunch, and then do a hike and talk about like
That's
what
right,
happened.
because if some people are gonna come that night, then at least they have the rest of the day to kind of get home, do what they need to do in order to come back. If you're just talking with them at 4 o'clock and you're saying, you know, come in 2 hours. I mean, some people can do it, but other
Mhm.
people need more time, right?
Mhm. Okay, cool.
They'll push lunch to 12:30 or something, you know.
Okay, cool.
Happy birthday, Cindy.
Oh, thank you.
You are fabulous.
Thank you. Well, I can only thank Neolife.
Yeah.
Bob Pearson passed on his happy birthday. He said it to me and I kind of went, oh, I have to send this one off to Cindy.
Yeah, we had a nice slumber party. It was fun.
Yeah. And then you said the Friday night was going to be just a dinner, just relaxing and chatting. Is that a social? Okay.
No, just Friday nights to discover more.
Sorry, the Thursday night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm thinking we should have a Zoom with Stephen, maybe Shelley, and go through this like as it gets closer, maybe in April, just to go over all the details of what we've talked about tonight. I might even send him this recording. Hi, Stephen. Say hi. Say hi to Stephen.
Hi, Steven.
Hi, Stephen.
All right, I can't put my camera on right now. I've got a hair treatment in my hair, so
Oh.
they're not
Multitasking.
I'll
I
be
love it.
scared. The neighbor can probably see me through his window. I'll probably scare him.
I gotta run and get some dinner. I'll see you at 9.
Yeah. Okay, we'll see you later, guys. So I will, Joan, anything else? Thank you, Tracy. We'll see you later.
On Thursday, who's going to dinner? Like what's the dinner about?
I think we're just gonna get together with Stephen. Probably just direct. I have to talk to him, see what he wants to do. Yeah, especially if people are coming a distance. I don't know if they're gonna be staying over or like we have to. We're just the idea's just out there still.
So
I think
basically, sorry.
I
go
think
ahead,
he
Jen.
said I think he said with the directors, but I'll confirm that with him.
So basically, it's done on Saturday at like 5 or something.
Yeah, like and we might go
Okay.
as a team. We can decide if we want to go for dinner.
Okay. Well, just because I got to figure it out. If Mike's going to drop me off, because I'm trying to get him to the cottage so he's not cranky. Because when we were just there in February, I said, oh, we're not going to come back again until July because I've planned 2 other trips on long weekends. And then I said, hey, I think I figured out a way you can get there. And he was excited. So he's like, yeah, I could drop you off in Orangeville and then carry on. So, I mean, either way, I could get there or whatever. But if we're doing something first thing in the morning, I'd have to come Thursday at some point.
Yeah. And then what about, did you want to stay overnight? So he wants to be there obviously Saturday, Sunday,
Well,
and then drive back.
yeah, he would probably leave to come home on the Sunday morning early. So I don't know how far Orangeville is from our cottage. Is it like where you are? Near where
It's
you
actually
are?
not far. He could just zip right down the 400 and come across to Orangeville Highway 9. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's like Toronto-ish is about 3.5 hours from the cottage. Like it's midway.
Oh yeah. No, and we can hang out on the Sunday. Don't worry about that. That'd be fun.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I'll figure all that out once we kind of get an agenda together.
Yes. Sounds like a plan.
Okay. And I have
Anybody
some
else?
people that I could invite
That's right.
from that area too, that I know because of the cottage. But I'll
Oh,
talk to you
great.
about that after, because I tried to invite someone that I think really could use it for a number of different reasons. And she's like, not into it right now. And I'm like, okay, fine. So, but I feel like if we're in her neighborhood, we used to live in the beaches of Toronto, but then
Ah.
we're separated. So she's probably still in that area-ish. Is that close-ish? Like,
Yeah, it's definitely drivable from Toronto. Absolutely.
so
It'd be fun. That'd be great.
yeah. So maybe I could get her just to come and hear it on
For
Friday
sure.
night.
On the
See.
Friday night. Yeah. Awesome. And make it a fun social thing. Tell her, hey, join me for dinner, like early dinner, and then we can go listen together.
Yeah, she's like my cottage neighbor that spent almost every day with me because she and the girls would come to the cottage and for the summer, and her husband would just kind of come and go, and she would come to our cottage, and anyway, so we have quite a relationship. But anyway,
Okay,
blah blah blah.
good. That's awesome. No, that'd be great. Anything else to add before we?
I was gonna ask Natalie, maybe once you stop recording, I wanted to ask you a question on a condition.
Sure. All right, guys, and nothing else for that week. We might, well, obviously we're going to get together again once we get everything kind of more clear, but I just wanted to get an idea what we're going to do and start getting our thinking caps on. So thank you again for joining us tonight. I'll stop the recording and thanks again.